Happy Tuesday. This is Slice of Life, where we hit you with our favorite social slice, the best thing we saw from the internet, our chicken parm heroes, and stories from sports. That's Billy Harner. My name is Keith Rad. We'll kick it off with our favorite social slice. Billy, we'll start it off with you.
This was a last-minute audible. I had a whole different story plan, and then I saw this video, and it made me chuckle. So first, wear a mask. Second, wear a mask. Third, sit down and enjoy this video telling you to wear a mask.
It's not easy. The mask kind of makes people uncomfortable. I don't have much of a social life. I wish people could see me for who I am, just trying to fit in. Be a good friend. Make a living. I know. The whole chainsaw thing. The woods. Sneaking up on people. I get it. I don't have the best reputation. But the thing is, behind the mask, I'm just a regular guy. I'm not scary at all. I have a cat.
So I think this is the way to do it. Don't be preachy like me, like I just was. Don't get on your soapbox. Make people laugh while still getting your message across. And the New York State's been doing a few different videos like this that have been entertaining while still getting your point across and telling people how important it is to wear your mask. So I saw a tweet the other day from someone that said the person who was in charge of the PR campaign back in the 80s and 90s, I guess, to make sure you cut your six-pack holder to save the fish, should start a wear your mask campaign, because everybody remembers you need to cut your six-pack holder before you throw it in the garbage. So that would be a good time to get that person back in the loop on this one. I saw some stuff this morning. Somebody was saying the worst thing that happens if you wear a mask is you wear a mask and nothing happens and it doesn't do anything. You don't wear a mask, there's a chance people can get sick. So it's really just, I know people are all up in arms about losing their freedoms and stuff like that, and to some extent I get that, but I mean, come on, just wear a mask, dude.
Yeah. It's a mild inconvenience. I mean, you go to the store, put a mask on, it's fine. Whatever. I think this is a great way of doing it. I'm always a big fan of humor to get the point across, because everything's kind of mundane and wear your mask. Okay, I will, but this really drives the point home. So I'm surprised we haven't seen more comedic takes on things like this. So this is awesome. Speaking of comedy, Bill, Carl Reiner passed away today. The eternal funny man, 98 years old, Mel Brooks' best friend. If you're thinking, who Carl Reiner? That sounds a little old school. He's probably a little bit behind the times at 98. But if you've seen Ocean's 11, the 2001 version, it's a top 5, top 10 movie of all time for me. He plays Saul Bloom in the movie. But also Carl Reiner's connection to Mel Brooks, who's 94 years old. If you watch on HBO, Mel Brooks Unwrapped, you'll see a ton of Carl Reiner. If you watch Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, there's an episode where Jerry goes and eats like takeout dinner with Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner, and they're both like 94, talking about the secrets of life and all the things that they've done. Carl Reiner is the dad of Rob Reiner, who's a great director in Hollywood as well. Carl, the dad who just passed away, was in World War II. I mean, one of his projects was the Dick Van Dyke Show. So the man seemed to live forever. And even though you might not know of him off the top of your head, a lot of his influences are in some of the comedic projects that we know and love today. So obviously a sad day that he passes away, but this is a happy show. So we celebrate some of the art that he brought to the table. Him and Mel Brooks, a big team there, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, he lived to be, I think he was 98 when he passed away. So we'd all sign up for that for sure. And the life that he lived and the joy that he brought to people, he certainly jammed it all in there. And Mel Brooks, and he's one of the funniest people that has ever lived. And for him and Carl to have the success that they've had throughout their careers and have the friendship they've had throughout the years is pretty amazing as well.
Let's do some chicken parm heroes. I'll go first. It takes two to tango, and my chicken parm heroes are Larry Lord and the doctors and nurses from Staten Island University Hospital who, as they say, performed a medical miracle. Larry Lord is a 59-year-old school principal at PS 235 in Brooklyn. He went into the hospital with COVID on March 24th and came out on June 19th. 87 days in the hospital, 65 of them on the ventilator. He's been at a rehab center in New Jersey because he can't really speak. He's extremely weak, and you can imagine just getting over this thing takes everything out of you. But the beautiful part of the story is that he and his wife, Jeanette, were able to share some frozen grapes on their 38th wedding anniversary a few days ago. You can just imagine every single day on that ventilator, not knowing what the future is going to hold, not knowing if today could be the last day. But Larry Lord is just one of the many, thanks to some great medical care. The reason we clap every night at 7 o'clock, really a medical miracle.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable story to be in the hospital for that long and on a ventilator for that long, and then to sort of have a happy ending when it's all said and done is amazing. And as I was, hearing you talk about the story and seeing the story, you almost sort of forget that these things haven't been in the news as much, but luckily it's because people haven't been getting as sick and as many people passing away, at least in New York. So we haven't been hearing these stories as much, but it's always great to hear a happy ending story like this as somebody that fought through it and came out the other side. So great job by all the doctors and nurses and everybody involved in that as well. For my chicken parm hero, the Hansen family in California came up with the perfect alternative to sleepaway camp or day camp that has been canceled in a lot of places. So they call it Common Sense Camp, where they are using quarantine as an opportunity to teach their kids basic life skills. They said that sleepaway camp has been great for their kids who are 12 and 17, I believe. It gives the kids a chance to realize that they can, what they can do without their parents' help, and it gives the parents a chance to realize that they're not completely helpless and they can survive on their own for a little bit. So, and it's also a great chance to give the kids some independence. So they're using a book called How to Be a Person, which I immediately ordered on Amazon because I am interested in what goes on in this book. It's an instructional manual, imagine Life for Dummies kind of thing. And that's what they're using as their camp manual. And each week they have a different theme, something ranging from kitchen confidence to laundry and cleaning skills to social skills and public speaking and things like that. So they also have normal camp activities like making s'mores and friendship bracelets and that kind of stuff. But, seeing how the early returns on what they're doing, I guess, their kids are getting more involved in the kitchen and learning how to do stuff and learning how to cook and the right way to use bleach when you're doing your laundry and stuff like that. I want to sign up for this camp. First, I'm 37 years old. I want to find out some of this stuff. I feel like I, just jumped over a lot of these life skills, and I could use a dollop of how to really chop onions and things like that. And it seems like that's a great idea that these parents are doing. It's something that I legitimately ordered the book, and I'm going to try to break some of these things into the life of my own kids this summer.
Yeah, How to Be a Person is just kind of a hilarious title on something like this. I remember my mother was asking one of the high school teachers when I was going to high school, how come the kids don't learn, how to, at the time, balance a checkbook or, work on finances? And the teacher really didn't have a good answer for that. So these things are more needed than I think people realize. Some people who think, I can cut onions, I know how to do laundry, this and that. You may be in the minority, actually, sadly, because there's a lot of people that, hey, they pop a tire on the highway, they have a donut in the back of the car, no idea how to put it on safely. So, yeah, How to Be a Person.
I remember when I was in college, the first couple days on campus, nobody knew how to do laundry. It was absolutely hilarious. So I knew how to do my own laundry. So I became the go-to guy for how to do your laundry, which looking back on it now, is just outrageous.
Sports. Bill, what do you got?
So I have always said that hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in sports. You got thousands of people screaming. They're throwing 90-something miles an hour. You have 1 point whatever seconds to make up your mind and swing the bat. And it's a round ball and a round bat, and you got to hit it squarely. Keith Hernandez says that all the time. So it's nuts. But you know what's harder than hitting one baseball? Hitting two baseballs. Take a look. So this video started making the rounds on Sunday. It was on SportsCenter. It's been on Bleacher Report. It's been everywhere. And the people who just ruin everything that's fun have slowed it down and show that he doesn't actually hit both baseballs, and one's just coming from another field and whatever. It still looks cool. And I like the illusion that he did hit two. And I hate everybody that ruins everything when it's fun.
Yeah, the first thing that came to mind after watching this was the Randy Johnson bird video, just because of the timing of these things. Literally, probably you'd say once in a lifetime, but here we see, time two that it happens. This always happens when you go play softball and there's the four fields around each other and balls are flying everywhere. But the timing of this is impossible. So, the social media is great. It keeps tabs on everybody, but if there was no video, that kid, remember that time I hit two balls at the same time? And then all the people on social say, well, no, you didn't, but still, story's the best.
The first game that I ever went to in my life was in 1986. I went to Shea Stadium with my family, and we had to leave because I don't know the dates, and I'm going to probably research this now, but there was a fly ball that was hit down the left field line. Our seats were on the right field side. Fly ball was hit down the left field line that ended up hitting a bird, and the bird fell, the ball fell, the bird DOA. And I was distraught as a 3-year-old that this was what was happening. So there's got to be a video of it someplace, or there's got to be a story about it someplace. But that was the first baseball game I ever went to. And my father would repeatedly tell me the story about how we had to leave in like the 5th inning because I ruined the game because I wouldn't stop crying because a bird died.
Sorry to hear that, Bill.
I got over it.
For my sports story, we all know somebody out there, whether it's a neighbor or family, friend, they come over, watch whatever game it is, and they yell, see, it's fixed. Sports is fixed. Whatever. Well, this time we found out that something with sports is indeed fixed. The extremely famous video game NBA Jam, created in 1993 by designer Mark Turmell, who was a huge Detroit Pistons fan at the time. And if you watch The Last Dance, or Bill, like you lived through it, you understand that there was a massive rivalry between the Pistons and the Bulls. And this was the time, 93, where the Bulls were starting to get over the hump a little bit, and the Pistons fans and the Pistons themselves were obviously reeling a little bit. So Turmell knew this and created NBA Jam with a code that if the Bulls were playing the Pistons and the Bulls were down late and they heaved a last-second buzzer beater, there was a code in the game. No matter how perfect your release was, you'd always miss the shot. That's amazing. How frustrating would that be? I had a buddy in college who was obsessed with Call of Duty, and if you just walked in front of the TV, he'd lose his marbles and want to throw you out the window. I can't imagine the diehard gamers who, I had a perfect release. What was wrong? This happens every time. Well, the game was literally fixed so that you would lose every single time.
Yeah, good thing esports wasn't a thing back then. But this is just another example of why NBA Jam is, I think, the greatest video game of all time. They had so many Easter eggs in this game. Like, you could play as the Beastie Boys, and you could just pick as random people that would just show up if you had all these codes. There was a candy store around the corner from my house that took a lot of my quarters, all of my allowance for a very, very long time, so I could go and play NBA Jam. And then I got it on Super Nintendo, and that was a wrap for me. I just bought a new one a couple of years ago, and it came out for PlayStation. So this is spectacular. I love this game, and I just always assumed that the Pistons beat the Bulls because Michael Jordan wasn't in the game. So, obviously the Pistons would beat the Bulls without Michael Jordan. But now I know I wasn't crazy all these years.
Yeah. It's just hilarious to see these little things snuck throughout the game. Good stuff today. We're moving on to July tomorrow, which you and I didn't realize that July 1st we'd be focusing on coming up with a daily show instead of getting ready for a ball game. But such is life.
Yeah, it's a little different from what we expected. A lot more home time, a lot more FaceTime with you, and a lot less baseball.
Sorry. But the good news keeps coming. We'll see you tomorrow for another Slice of Life.
Have a great day, everybody.